everyone, my name is Rachel and I review everything. So a couple of days ago, I binge watched all 6 episodes of the miniseries I Am the Night. It premiered on TNT back in January and I just now got to watching it. I don't know, welcome to my channel, I'm behind on everything. But it starred Chris Pine and Patty Jenkins directed, I believe, the first 2 episodes. And it was based on a true story that had a connection to the Black Dahlia murder, so it sounded interesting. But I have some thoughts and they're not as positive as they usually are. But before we get started, I want to remind you guys that you can follow me over on Twitter. There I talk about all kinds of geeky stuff and I also post updates on upcoming videos, so I would love to talk to you guys on there. Also, it'd be cool if you subscribe too. Alright, so this show was inspired by the true story of Fauna Hodel, a young girl who learns in the year 1965 that she was given away at birth. Understandably, she wants answers as to who she is and where she comes from, so she leaves her home in Nevada to find some of her relatives in Los Angeles. However, the closer she gets to her real family, she starts coming up with more questions than answers. And that's what kind of leads her to teaming up with reporter Jay Singletary, Chris Pine's character. She also has that connection to Dr. George Hodel, who in real life and in the show is suspected to be the killer of the Black Dahlia. This is where I mentioned that the show has a TV mature rating, because when the story focuses in on this guy, things can get pretty disturbing at times. So just a bit of a warning there. Okay, so after watching the show and giving myself some time to really think about it, I have some very mixed feelings. The first 3 episodes I didn't really like. Now, I wasn't expecting this show to be like a non-stop thrill ride, but there were some slower moments in those first 3 episodes where just not much really happened, or at the very least, that's what it felt like. There were some times where I felt they were trying to give us information, but it was done in a very forgettable way. A lot of the information that we learn is through just one-on-one conversations, which would normally be fine, but they were pretty boring. I just found my mind wandering a lot through those. That could just be me though. Something that I might find to be a bit boring could be what someone else finds to be intriguing. But on top of that, the story itself is just pretty hard to keep up with too. There was a lot I just didn't think was explained very well, and I still have things that I'm confused about after watching, but I'm gonna stop being such a negative Nancy here for a minute because things did start to improve with the 4th episode. I thought that this one turned things around for the rest of the series. It was interesting, it had action, it was more tense than the previous episodes. There weren't any moments that I personally considered to be too long or too dull. I thought that this episode brought the tone that I had been looking for in this show. It's just a shame that it wasn't there for me as much earlier on. Also, this was the first episode that we got some real emotion from Fauna. It's not that she hadn't shown emotion in the other episodes, it just seemed like she was holding herself together pretty well. And this was the first time that we just saw her break down from everything that's been going on, and I really felt for her in that moment. But the biggest highlight in this show was Chris Pine. His performance as Jay was the most enjoyable thing in my opinion, and honestly, if they would have had someone even slightly less talented in that role, it wouldn't have been the same. He was so good. You know, I just thought the show could have been better. Fauna's real life story is incredibly interesting, but unfortunately the show was lacking a few things. This was supposed to be a suspense drama, and it just wasn't as suspenseful as it could have been. But even though my opinion of this show was somewhat negative, that doesn't mean it was altogether bad. It just wasn't what I had hoped for. What I want out of a show and what my expectations are might be different from someone else's, and that's totally okay. But with all that being said, I'll be giving this one a 3-star rating. Probably won't watch it again. So did any of you watch I Am the Night? And if so, did you enjoy it more than I did? I'd love to know. As always, I have a lot more reviews coming in the near future, so be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon to stay up to date with those. But until then, I'm Rachel, and that was my review of I Am the Night.